Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Conservation Conversations with BirdLife South Africa. I'm your host, Christina Hagen, coming to you live from Cape Town. And joining us from Blythe River Canyon is the original host of Conservation Conversations, Melissa Whitecross.
Thanks, Christina. It's great to be back on the show, and a huge thank you to you and Andrew for holding down the fort while I've been gallivanting.
So tonight is the last webinar for the year. It is the 47th that we've done this year and the 81st since we began last year. So we'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our amazing speakers, without whom we would not have been able to keep this going for a year and a half already. We'd also like to thank Karoo and Josiah, who's been assisting behind the scenes with some admin, and also to my co-hosts, Andrew de Block and Melissa Whitecross, for letting me into the Conservation Conversations family. You guys have done an amazing job at putting these all together, and it's been a privilege to work with you. And lastly, we'd like to thank you, our audience, for tuning in. We have been absolutely blown away by the support that we've received, and amazed that we still regularly have over 400 people signing in every Tuesday evening. We are putting together a fantastic lineup for next year, so please do join us again from the 8th of February, 2022.
Absolutely, and thank you, Christina. It's been a privilege working with both of you, and certainly incredible, as you say, to see what a family Conservation Conversations really has become. So thanks to everyone who continues to tune in and watch the content that we've been putting out there. As Christina said, next year is going to be even bigger and better. So we look forward to lining up all of those incredible talks for you. But tonight, we are very pleased to welcome Craig and Christine Widdows to our show. Craig is an ecologist and Christine is an occupational therapist. They have two children, Ren and Finn. Craig and Christine have always included the kids in their birding, but decided to take it to the next level by embarking on a proudly South African big year in 2021. They've been all over the country over the last 11 months, and they will share some of their stories with us tonight. They will give a short presentation, and then we'll devote the rest of the time to your questions. So do pop them in as Craig and Christine go through their talk. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Craig and Christine Widdows to the show tonight, and I'll hand over to the two of you to share your screen and take it away.
Awesome. How's it, everyone?
Hi, everybody.
Great. So thanks, Christina and Melissa, for the introduction. Yeah, when we got asked to do this talk, we were kind of thinking, how are we going to condense a year of big year birding into a short presentation? But yeah, so we're just going to give you guys a bit of some of the highs, some of the lows, and yeah, a bit in between on how we've actually done this year together with the family.
Yeah, so we're going to just start off by giving you a little bit of a background on who's the owl behind the owl birding big year.
So first is the mom, Christine. As you just heard, Christine is an occupational therapist by trade, and is our family's probably best spotter. A lot of the birds, some of the really top birds you've seen this year.
Not really.
Christine's eagle eyes have picked them up. Christine and I have been together for 16 glorious years, and we've always, with both our children, we've tried to include them in the birding journey from the get-go. I mean, I think Ren was 11 weeks when we took her to the bush first to get her involved. And yeah, Christine has been an incredible mother and birder this year with the kids, juggling both. I mean, Finn was just over 2 years old when we started this whole journey, and yeah, having him on board while trying to big year bird has been a thing. So she's juggled it incredibly well, and yeah.
Thank you. So Craig, the dad, he's an ecologist and our primary birder in the family. So Craig has been pretty much obsessed with birds since about 5 years old. And yeah, when we met, he kind of still continued birding whenever we went away. And when we got married, we started birding together. And we kind of fell in love with this whole birding together thing, because our destinations for our holidays were now focused on where could we bird together and where haven't we been together. So yeah, he's definitely got the ears for birding. So he's the one who hears and sees and identifies usually the quickest. But yeah, together I think we've made a great team, and we've learned a lot by working together this year. It's been such an amazing opportunity. Craig's also had to be incredibly patient because he's been juggling the 2 kids climbing on top of him and making lots of noises when he's birding, and he's just been phenomenal at just juggling what we've been doing this year, birding and parenting 24/7.
Yeah, so onto the kids. So Ren is our daughter. Yeah, she was 4.5 when we started this big year, and she's kind of the family firecracker. She definitely keeps mom and dad on our toes all the time. And she's the best storyteller that we have to really. I mean, the long journeys that we've had this year, she's kept us very much entertained.
She can talk for about 13 hours straight.
Yeah. So she's got that covered. But really, we're excited about it is that she's really shown an interest in birding, and she's got a really good, keen set of hearing on her. So yeah, I think a few of you have birded with us this year have seen that she kind of can pick up bird calls quite well, and her kind of memory as well to associate is also fantastic. So yeah, she's blown us away with how well she's handled this year.
She's been quite obsessed about our count. So like, how many owls have we got? Which owls have we got? And which ones we still have to get? And she'll tell everybody, oh, we've still got grass owl to get and marsh owl. And when we finished our owl, she was quite upset actually. So this is our son. This is Finn. He started the year at 2 years old. Yeah. And yeah, so now he was a little 2-year-old, and now he's a very big 3-year-old. He is such a risk taker. He's our social butterfly. He is busy, which has obviously added a different dynamic to our year. But yeah, wow, how phenomenal to have him at such a young age and to be able to nurture that side of him. He's brought a lot of joy and kept us really grounded during our year. And yeah, he's also definitely got a love for birding. He usually just loves going through the books, and he's so proud of himself when he IDs correctly. So yeah, that's Finn. Yeah,
so that's pretty much the team. So the dream 2020, I think for everyone kind of brought a bit of introspection, some time to think. And I remember one afternoon we were just sitting, myself and Christine, chatting, and we just started to discuss what we wanted for our family and for ourselves. And for us, it was really to pursue happiness. And for us, happiness is just being outdoors. I mean, we just want to be outdoors all the time. And we just thought, like, how can we make kind of our dream into a reality, into something that we can pursue?
Yeah, so I'll never forget the afternoon Craig came and chatted to me. The kids were watching TV, and I was just on the couch having like a moment of quiet. And we were in lockdown at the time. And he came to me and he's like, what about next year we do a birding big year? And I was like, okay. I think in about 10 seconds, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And something that Craig's always mentioned for many years that he wanted to do it. And we just never, we never found ourselves an opportunity to be able to take a break from work, as well as the motivation to go. And just, I think last year was a great motivator to get us challenged and to look for something different. So we took on this big dream of doing a birding big year.
Yeah, so to get right off the bat, the first thing that our family, friends, everyone who we've met along the way, even through our social media accounts, ask us, where did you get the money to do this? Like, how can you afford to bird? I mean, with the family, it's not birding for 1, you're birding for 4, so you're eating and staying for 4. And to be brutally honest, we were never in a position.
No. We're not really sure how we've made it this far.
We were not in a financially sound situation to be doing this. But again, the more we discussed it, the more we realized that this big year is not something that we kind of wanted to do. It was something that we needed to do. It was absolutely essential. So we made some tough choices. I mean, last year in November, we moved out of our flats, put everything that we had into storage, and we've been bouncing between parents. We've got very kind parents who've let us move in with 2 kids.
Basically vagrants in their house for the last year.
Yeah, so again, we didn't have the best car for the job, not the biggest car. We didn't have the best camping gear. But our motto at this stage of the planning was, it'll be fine. If we just commit, it'll be fine. You can see at the bottom there, that was our little K-way nylon tent, which we had with a small ground sheet. We're like, if we camp this whole way, we'll make it work. Stay in the caravans we need to, it'll be fine. and very, very quickly we realized it's not fine. It was absolutely crazy. That shot on the left-hand side there is our tent during Kruger. We did a wonderful trip in Kruger in March, top to bottom, but I think you'll recall we had massive weather changes then, and the storms. Our tent got flooded, I think, five nights. I mean, the kids were floating at one point. There was water in there. The little blow-up mattresses which we had were bobbing around.
Our tent that we've used for 10 years suddenly gave way, and in our most important year for camping.
Yeah, no, it was a tough realization, and we found quite early on that we needed to make some changes. So we were able to borrow Christine's dad's 40-year-old Finch trailer. So we knew that we could then at least put some more supplies in there. And then we borrowed my dad's nice canvas tent at the bottom there. So then we thought, right,
which made a huge difference.
Made a massive difference. Now we thought, well, at least we semi-kitted to continue the journey. But for the first 2 months, we kind of started with very little. And just wanted to make it happen.
Craig also worked along the way, so which really helped because he was able to do jobs and reports on the road. And somehow we just made it through. We have been back at work since July, which has been incredibly amazing to be able to be earning a little bit to support this crazy dream, but also it's been quite challenging because we've been birding every single weekend, and so we haven't rested since June. If you can call big your birding resting.
Restful situation.
So this is our Suzuki Jimny. We call him James. When I fell pregnant with Finn, I had said to Craig, there is no way that we can have 2 kids in this Jimny. We're going to have to get a new car. Even if it's not a 4x4, we got to downsize and get a bigger car that had a boot. And I'm so grateful that he said, no, it will work, because a little did we know we were going to be road tripping across South Africa in James. So I could not have asked for a better car for us. There's a few reasons. First of all, he's taught us to really simplify. So we only pack what we need. And, packing and unpacking, I think in the first month we had counted about 42 times of packing and unpacking, or in the first 6 weeks or something. It was crazy. It is really amazing to be able to take only what you need. And then one of the brilliant things about being parents and having kids at the back is that I can reach them. I can clip them in from the front. I can pick up their juice bottle that they've dropped and hand it to them. I can even feed them because I can touch them. So that has actually been incredible for our long road trips. We did custom make our roof racks last Christmas with the help of Grandpa, and we put ammo boxes, we put all our clothes in there, and we put them on the roof. So that's basically how we've traveled this year.
No, that's the machine that's got us where we needed to be. So then the next thing, obviously, through our discussion and planning was the target. What should we go for? Traditionally, Southern Africa big year has been the target is 800. But when we started to kind of inquire about South Africa, we couldn't find anywhere where there was like a definitive set total where anyone had really pushed it. I know we looked at old Birdlass reports and it ranged. I'm like, there was a 625, and there was a 640, then there was a 681. Quite a big total, but nothing really definitive. We're really lucky to have nice talks with Andrew de Block quite early on in the planning process. And we just kind of worked through the residents, and if we had a good pelagic trip and we had a nice rarity season, I think it was 693 was what we'd end up on. So it was not really flattering numbers. We just said, let's try 700, which when we discussed with a lot of people, it was impossible. And we didn't think so, but we thought, let's put a number to strive for, and at least then we've got something to fix our eyes on.
So the benefits of a big year. So obviously traditionally it's a Southern Africa big year, and doing an SA big year was amazing in so many ways. So one of the first things was we started the year with the borders closed, which would not have been very funny and would not have gone down very well if we were doing a Southern Africa big year. The other thing is also cost-wise to go through all our neighboring countries, flights, and also obviously the mileage would have been just out of our reach.
Mm.
So it would have really been impossible. So doing a South Africa big year just seemed to be a lot more doable for us. And then when you're birding with kids, you need time. So doing South Africa just meant that we had extra time. We had the year to do just SA. And so that meant that when we traveled to a certain place to get 1 or 2 birds, that we could actually be there for a couple of nights, which is what you need when you're taking 2 kids along. You need to be slower, you need to have time for them to play, and you just need to be able to strategize your year a little bit better, not just get a bird and then go to the next place the next day.
Also, if you're a Suzuki Jimny owner trying to tow a trailer, you also need a significant amount of time.
So a big year with kids, we really wanted to make it very authentic, and make it a birding experience for the kids, but a lot more than that even. We wanted to bring them along and help make them a huge part of every tick that we had from the beginning. So there were obviously a few thoughts that we were worried about in terms of the silence. Obviously, birding is usually a very quiet, peaceful sport or hobby. And taking 2 little ones, especially a 2-year-old, it was not going to be very silent. Would we be fast enough? Would we be able to kind of get to our target within the year? Were we going to be fast enough to get to a bird before it had left in terms of twitches? Were we going to cope with twitching? Because obviously twitching is, first of all, quite an expensive activity, and then also to take kids to a twitch, you get very, very stressed and
seriously panic stricken often.
A lot of nerves come down for Craig and I, and then also from the perspective of what we needed for the kids. Finn, it was still dependent on nappies for the first 6 months, and what that meant was we went to a number of towns where there just was not a shop to buy nappies. We hadn't realized, and so we've had lots of memories of kind of big disasters. We've changed nappies in the most craziest places, and it has been quite a big part of our birding big year,
100%.
with having a little one with us. And then the long hours in the car, we knew that we were going to do crazy amounts of mileage. It's like 37,000 plus, and so we were like, how are the kids going to cope with the long hours in the car? It was quite crazy because from January 1st, within the first 2 weeks, these kids had completely transformed, and all these worries of, the long hours and the silence and were we going to be fast enough and the nappies and the twitching, they kind of all dissolved as the kids adapted and they evolved with us on our birding big year.
Yeah, they did super, super well. And the one thing also we tried to do, we wanted to obviously involve the kids in every tick, but there were certain instances where it wasn't possible. And I think a good example, we just come back from that 21-day stint down Kruger, and we twitched the buff-breasted sandpiper on the way. So we got that.
I think we were like 14 hours.
Yeah, it was a
car.
massive day. We got home after the kids' first kind of really long trip of the year, and that Mkuzi striped crake popped up. So the next morning. So we said to the kids, listen, like, do you want to come? We're going to go for a night, or you can stay with Granny. Because our last thing we want to do is push them so hard that at the end of the year, we say we're going birding and they're like, we're out. So that's really the key for us, has been, we want to make this an experience for them, but also something that doesn't put them off, because we are asking a massive amount from them. I think the nice way which sums up what we're trying to achieve with our big year was our search for the mangrove kingfisher. I think most people, if it's a year bird or a life bird, or it's part of your big year, the general consensus, you just hit the mangroves and, you wait for the bird, and that's the strategy you go for. But with us having the kids, we really wanted to make quite a unique and different experience. So we were very lucky. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if it's frozen. We were very lucky to hop on a trip with Explore Zini at Zini and actually go out on a early morning canoe trip, which was just incredible. And I think it kind of summed up the 3 things we we're trying to achieve with this year with big birding with the kids. Was explore. We wanted the kids to just explore this insane country that we have. The habitats are incredible. So to be out there first thing in the morning watching the sunrise. Ren lost it. She was in her element, like a little life jacket on and cruising up the Madagascar River. She loved it. And that was the next thing, of really just immersing all of us in this whole experience, immersing us in nature and birding. And then finally to connect. So we connect with some really great birds that day, but also connect with the people behind the birds. And we got to meet Fred and his wife and kind of spent a morning with them birding and then chatting, and then caught up with them. And that's the other thing I wanted to do, is you wanted just to connect with people, just to kind of find out who's who and what's going on. And yeah, that kind of experience, that really summed up what we were trying to achieve with our big year. Sorry, there we go. So yeah, when we were doing our big year planning it, we kind of wanted our year to have a purpose and kind of a meaning behind it. So we chatted again with Andrew, and one of the things which struck us was the BirdLife South Africa's community bird guide training project. And what an incredible project it is, you know, training people from previously disadvantaged or historically disadvantaged communities to become nature and bird guides. And not only is it a fantastic project, but we were able to meet a lot of the guides from it who've come through this project, and what legends. I mean, it was really a massive highlight for us, meeting them. Their sort of local knowledge of the area was astounding. And I think for me, we've chatted about it before, the way they opened up about, you know, who they are and what they were before birding and how they've done. I mean, I remember the day with Timber, he showed me where he went to school and that, and it was extremely like emotional experience being invited into someone's life that they don't know you. And I think that every single one of them showed that ability just to make you fall in love with their area and the birds and the habitat. So yeah, we decided that this is really something that we wanted to get behind.
Yeah, so I mean, I would just describe the community bird guides as incredibly passionate and family men. So I think we didn't have a chance yet to meet with one of the women. We are really excited to hear there are more and more female bird guides, community bird guides. But one of the highlights for us was the way the kids were so immersed with the guides on our days that we were with them. I think many of them actually put one of our kids to sleep, Finn carrying on the shoulder, or taking Rena and Finn to go and have a look at some plants like Lucky and Buckerstrip while we were trying to see both as Lark. And those little moments were so treasured by the kids, and they would talk about Lucky and David and Samson and Sagamuzi for months afterwards. So those were big highlights for us. And the training project just really did touch our hearts, to just think of how the training project has touched these guides' lives, and how many more guides' lives could change through it.
And it was so good to the kids. I mean, we can't say it's enough. They were fantastic with the kids. I mean, they took on, there was a few, obviously, both kids are some days a bit of a tantrum here and there. I mean, these guys took it in their stride. It was they're
quite used to it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. All right, so the plan of action here. So again, we didn't fully appreciate the amount of planning that kind of goes into this big. I mean, Southern Africa, those of you who've done it, take a hats off to you. So when we started going through the planning, we realized that we had kind of taken on quite a bit. So we were very lucky to get in touch quite early on in the process with previous Southern Africa big birders, John Kinghorn and Neil Perrins, who was so kind to give us a lot of pointers about what we should be doing, what we shouldn't. And so we came up with a strategy which would suit our family. And the first thing was our plan was to take off the first 3 months of the year, so 4 months, so from January until April, and then head back to work. But mid-February we were having too much fun, so we kind of cashed everything in here and went till July, 1st of July. And so the first thing on that for the 7-month plan was to work our habitats. We realized, we were going to have to take a different approach with having the children on board. So let's work the habitats, and that's the way we can start building up our numbers. Target the migrants early on. We did quite a fast trip. January through till mid-Feb, we went from northern Zululand, wider Gauteng, down through the Karoo, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, back, just to target the migrants, and then use the next 3-4 months to just fill in the gaps, work those areas. The next thing was bucket list ticks. For us, that was like a non-negotiable, that we're going to be doing birding, particularly in South Africa. Again, we had time, or more time, should I say. So the thing we were able to do, camping for Kruger with the kids top to bottom. I mean, that was just fantastic.
That was a dream for many, many years.
Fantastic 22 days, and then spend 8 days in the Kalahari. I mean, another bucket list. Another bucket list thing. And so that was a wonderful opportunity to achieve that. And then the last thing on our plan was to connect. We've said it already, but just to connect. We wanted to meet the people behind the birding and behind this process, and just to kind of see how deep the rabbit hole actually goes.
If anybody knew us, or actually basically nobody knew us before this year, we were the most unconnected people, especially birders. And yeah, it's been great to connect, to meet everybody in the birding community, those who aren't even birders, but welcomed us into their home and really supported us along the way. So a big year with kids. Melissa spoke about tips and tricks. I think we're still working it out. But I have to just say that we are incredibly grateful to these two little munchkins for making this year possible for us. We have kind of learned how to structure our day, how to structure our trips, so that so with the kids in mind, to make sure that they are not pushed too far and that they still enjoy birding, as we said. So basically every day you've got to schedule in playtime. So a lot of our photos of the kids, you'll see they're not looking at the camera. Most of the time they're playing with sticks, stones, leaves. Our Lego came with us everywhere, figurines. Scheduling in that playtime allowed us to have those couple of hours of birding in the morning, or a couple of hours in the evening and the afternoon. The longer days were a little bit more tough.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked us, did you use screen time? Funny enough, we actually didn't. The only time we ever did have some screen time was during the Northern Cape, because that was intense birding, which we'll chat about just now. But yeah, they were able to just stop, connect, play, engage with each other, and then we could carry on. One of the other challenges was different weather. So we've been in the freezing cold Karoo camping in winter. We've been in hail. We've been in, weeks of rain. We obviously had that cyclone Eloise in the beginning of the year. We had boiling hot days where, we've had to check that the kids haven't been dehydrated or gotten heat stroke, and then also nap time was a big thing. It sounds silly, but for us it was Finn having an hour to an 2-hour nap mid-morning could be very inconvenient. We always laugh because as soon as we go on a forest walk or a walk of any sorts to go birding, Finn falls asleep every time. So we usually either beletta him on the back or we carry him and we take turns. That's where you see Lucky and Sagamuzi, everybody's carried Finn, because he is like 17 or 18 kilos. He's a big boy. And he'll sleep anywhere. I mean, it doesn't take much for him to go. So. Yeah, on almost every game drive. So those kind of things have really played a big part. And I think accepting it, scheduling it into the plan, and then kind of going with the flow, going with the kids. We definitely had to schedule a few days at each place. So we once camped for one night, and that was a disaster. And so we said minimum 2 to 3 nights. Yeah. And so kind of having those ideas before even starting really did help us. You can see Craig and Rena in the bottom right-hand corner. And the way that we connect the kids to birds often is through the viewfinder of the camera, if we're lucky enough that it's the birds perched and waiting. It's just, binos have been incredible. Tim Carr gave our kids, his kids binos, which was amazing. And they're still learning and they're loving exploring. But that's just been the way that we've been able to really immerse them in the birding.
Yeah, so again, we're going to go through some of the highs, and we can't give them all because in the reality, this whole year has just been insane. I mean, it's just been an incredible experience. I think every day that we, such a dream for so long, certainly for myself, but a dream to be traveling with the family, and every day to be doing it has been like, you have to pinch yourself. I mean, really, it's just like,
we still can't believe it. Yeah. It's 11 months in.
Yeah, so we're going to give you a few of the highs from the trip. So for us, the first major high was quite early on. We realized that in order for us to be, happy, we were saying earlier about this whole pursuit of happiness, we really needed limited amount of stuff. I mean, that the kind of the first, we camped at one point, I think it was for like 11 weeks or so, wasn't it? Or
it was
something,
about 12
weeks with a few gaps. But
was
so
like
we
one or
didn't
two.
have much in the car. The kids didn't have very many toys. But we were so happy. Like we just had time with each other, and that was such a wonderful experience to kind of really minimize and just enjoy what you had in front of you. So that was a massive high.
And there
for
were no
us.
distractions. So
Yeah, it was,
there's no TV, there's no functions on the weekend, there's no crazy work stress, and for us, it was such a breath of fresh air, and just to be able to engage and be truly present, it was very special. It is still very special.
And birding wise, there's two big birds which stand out for us, and they might not be big birds for other people, but for us they were just massive.
Yeah.
The first one, the middle one, Mr. Stark's Lark. The Northern Cape birding is hard. It was hard. It came right at the end of quite a big stint for us, and we were emotionally and physically quite exhausted. And it's not the most attractive birding for kids as well.
They're usually larks, little brown jobs, farm roads.
We had quite a good run at one point, but we just couldn't connect with Starks or Sclaters as much as we tried. These two larks were giving us the massive run around. And I remember one day, I think it was like 11 o'clock, I was at the end of my tether, but I was really, it's just, because if you dip at the Northern Cape for a biggie, you can't go back. It's not like a quick, easy trip.
We knew it was our last
the pressure
chance.
was on. Anyway, we came around this road and a few birds flushed off the side. We were driving, I think there's the other dirt road between Porphyro, who we were staying, and towards Aggeneys. And a few birds flushed off the side of the road. Christine and I both knew what they were, but we were too scared to commit because,
I just said take a photo.
You don't want to jinx. Anyway, like busy trying to ID the birds, and Ren like promptly declares that she needs the facilities quite urgently, like she needs to have a wee. So now I'm thinking, like, if we turn around and bail, like the birds possibly fly away, we lost them, or we could flush them if we attempt this situation right here. Anyway, we decided let's give it a bash. We'll just open the door and kind of prop her out. It was remarkable. We opened the door, and I think it was like 3 of these Stark came to, and actually were like very confused as to what the situation was going. So we had them like right around the car.
Oh, yeah, actually landed. We could get out the car, and we just actually enjoyed time with about 40 Starks.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Amazing. So that was a big one for us. And then another bird, this was kind of our yes bird. So boulder chat as a South African bird it didn't come into our minds in terms of our planning process. More people we chatted about, it was the site of it was maybe inactive and it was a bit up in there, and also it's quite out the way of our plan. But we got into a bit of a habit of when people asked us something to join them or we want to stay somewhere, we just say yes. So we were actually in Pride, just finishing up Pridelands, and we're going to head through towards Gauteng to try for this yellow-throated sandgrouse. And Daniel Engelbrecht actually messaged us and said, "Oh, do you want to join us? We're going to camp on the Limpopo River for a bit, right up the top." So we're like, well, that's a massive detour, but that sounds great. And we got up there, and then a few days later, we went with Daniel's dad, Derek, to go and try the site. Climbed up on this koppie with the most like Lion King habitat. I mean, just that perfect
it's literally
African
koppies and barebags.
Yeah, and it was stunning. And then halfway through, we were just sitting up there, and then we heard this call echoing through the koppies, and this boulder chat came through, and it was weep moment. I mean,
I think we all had
there
good
was
cry.
definitely tears there. And it was just one of those birds that we didn't think we were going to connect with. And again, we were just like sitting there going, like, where are we? Like in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And it was just a massive high for us.
Yeah. Just one of our other highs was just the places that we've gotten to stay. Places that, so Craig and I had, prior to this year, not stayed at many private places or private reserves, or we haven't had those opportunities. And this year we've been incredibly blessed and fortunate and super appreciative for the birding big year, because we've also got to experience some crazy things. Like we got to go to Londolozi, and we stayed at the Outpost and Tennerhead Lodge, and a whole lot.
Special.
People have really reached out. We've also just stayed at some people's houses in the Eastern Cape and Western Cape and Northern Cape, and
we've been supported a lot.
We've made friends and family across South Africa, which has been one of our major highs.
Absolutely. Another big high was pelagic birding. Oh my gosh, like for me, this became like a really epic thing. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. And again, it was so grateful to all the pelagic teams for inviting us on. I mean, it was just stunning. Well, the first one was with Cape Town Pelagics in Simonstown at the start of the year, which was cracking boat trip there. Red phalarope was the big one out there, and then did another one with Zest for Birds, where Trevor Hardache and Cliff Dorse. I went out with them, and that was also a cracker. I mean, Spectacled Petrel was just a magic bird of the day. And then the October one here off Durban with Busters Birding, Neil Perrins and Dave Rimmer. And that was wonderful. I mean, it was a horrifically windy, wet day. But yeah, to get to that middle bird there, Barrow's Petrel was, yeah, I mean, it was, again, it's just like, birding it's too much fun. So yeah, there was some big moments.
So obviously, together with the highs, there have been some lows. Yeah, we've had some hard days where we haven't found a bird who's put in a lot of effort. But I think one for the books for all four of us was when we were in the Northern Cape, we had, as we said, look for Sclaters and Starks. And we got Starks, and we had one more target left, and that was Sclater's Lark. And we spent like, I don't know, weeks looking for Sclaters. And eventually we got to Brownflay, which was like our last place that we knew was reliable. We had a lot of gen for the area. And a few days before, a flock of 40 had been seen at the one of the reliable water sources. And so we sat at this water hole, as you can see in the background. We sat there for 8 hours a day for, I think, 2 days or something, at the end of like a 4-month road trip after camping for like 12 weeks. Yeah. So we were absolutely shattered, but determined to get this lark because we knew we weren't coming back. And unfortunately, we had to accept that we were dipping on Sclaters, and it was pretty hard.
That was tougher. I mean,
I think we also did weep then because
we put in such hard work. I mean, the kids, I mean, to let them sit in, I mean, they sat there playing about outside the car. I mean, they wanted this bird as well. I mean, they were in it. So we said, should we have a break? And they're like, no, Rena's like, let's do this thing.
We've got this. Yeah. And to tell them that we were leaving without it was quite hard. They did play on the other side of the car. They are amazing. I think they gathered some thorn trees and made like a big thorn bush.
They put in big effort there.
All crazy stuff, but yeah, that was quite tough.
Yeah. Then on to maybe some of our biggest twitches. We've had a great season this year. I think there's been some cracking birds out there, and we've been able to take good opportunities in connecting with some of these. So we'll give you guys a few stories of the biggest twitches. They're not certainly. Some of them weren't the most enjoyable
and not glamorous,
but they were some epic ones. So the first big one for us was we had just finished like a wonderful 8 days in the Kalahari, connecting with some big targets there. On the top left, redneck falcon was a big one, virtual sandgrass, southern white-faced owl was another one, but just enjoying a kind of bucket list tick. I think on the second to last day we were there, reports came through of the lesser noddy at Cape Recife, down the Eastern Cape. And we're like, well, you know what, if we change our plans slightly, we can try and connect with this bird. And it's been a while since we've done a big twitch, should we have a go? So we thought, let's have a dip here. Let's give it a bash. So the plan was that we were going to leave the Kalahari. We packed up and did like a little stint, and then we'd go through into Kenhardt to kind of stay at an accommodation there. And then we would then leave early the next morning and work our way through. The problem was that the plan did not go the plan didn't go well. Yeah. We went through to Kenhardt, and our accommodation, to be honest, it was like a prison.
I arrived and I went inside. The beds were on the floor and there was like a cage outside. And so I said, there's no way, Craig.
It didn't have a good vibe. So we left there and we thought, we'll do some back road birding and we'll find a place. It'll be fine mentality came in. And we headed out. We got to 20 Ks on this nice back road dirt birding, and we had the biggest flat tire. I mean, it like split the tire. So now we said 60 Ks in this dirt. So we're like, this is bad. So it took us 3 hours to do 60 Ks because if we lose another tire, we're in trouble. So finally get onto dirt road. It's now the 3 hour day is now 7 hours. And we tried to phone for accommodation, and neither of us for some reason had signal now. So now the sense of humor is failing. Yeah. So we obviously panic message our parents, be like, listen, this is where we are. Can you find us accommodation? Like a couple of hours later, our parents phoned back and said that we were looking at Britstown. It was completely booked, every accommodation in Britstown.
The next 2 towns were fully booked.
Because there was a festival. What festival was going on there, I don't know. But now it's now 7:30. So now the panic stations are in. The kids are now been in the car since 7:30.
And they fell asleep.
It's like a 12-hour day instead of 3. And we finally managed to get accommodation into R. The sweetest lady met us at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Swerved in there. The next morning, we picked ourselves up, got the tire fixed, and did a really good drive down to Cape Recife, where we connected with the lesser noddy there. I mean, you can check that photo. The kids are pleased. I mean, it was probably more the fact they finally got back to the beach, which is a happy place. But they were so excited to bag this bird, and yeah, for us it was a cracker.
Yeah, and then one of our other twitches was obviously the lesser white-throat. So when the lesser white-throat report came through, we were actually, the lesser white-throat is in Marloth Park in Kruger. We found ourselves at the same time in Port Nolloth, literally on the opposite side of SA.
Couldn't have been further away.
And we were very heart sore because I think everyone we knew and have met this year, we're all going to switch this bird. And because it hasn't been spotted in the southern hemisphere before, it was a huge twitch, and it kind of hurt that we couldn't go. So a couple of weeks later, after getting starts and all our targets and dipping on Sclaters, we found ourselves at Karoo with Rick Nuttall, and we decided, we had the most amazing time, and we were like, okay, we're heading home to Durban. We've been on the road for 4 months. And Craig looks at me, he's like, so we're not going to the lesser white-throat? And I was like, of course we are, we have to go. And I'm not sure why, but we just had this feeling. So we left in the morning. We traveled through to Joburg, and on the way to Gauteng, the president had said that Gauteng was going under lockdown. And so we drove straight through Gauteng, and obviously our friend was going to accommodate us. And so now we found ourselves in Mashadadorp, arriving at a tent or way off the main road.
No, they put the tent next to a dam.
A dam.
So that was frozen.
And we were frozen, and we arrived at about 10 in the evening, slept till 4, and try to defrost, get the kids back in the car, and we drove to Marloth Park. By the time we got to Marloth Park, we can safely say we were all very, very grumpy. We were absolutely exhausted. Instead of being in Durban, we were now in Marloth Park, very far from home.
Detour.
And our spare wheel had somehow sheared off the trailer. And after about 2 hours, I saw the lesser white-throat with a fellow birder. I called Craig, and by the time he came, which was like 2 seconds, it was gone. And that didn't go down well, obviously. And so for the next 2.5 hours, we spent looking, and I was praying, I was looking, I was dreaming about seeing this bird. And eventually we relocated it 2.5 hours later, and Craig could see it. But it was a hard twitch.
No, it was an undignified.
It was
an undignified twitch.
And we landed up actually camping for a couple nights in Kruger and just resting before going home with our grandparents, who landed up being there. So it was just amazing.
Yeah, and then certainly our most satisfying twitch has to be the Madagascar Cuckoo. We were in northern KZN in January. We tried a couple times in that Shishui and Velosi game reserve, and that bird just called but would not show itself to us. So we got a chance at Soetdoring in Bloemfontein. I went for it, and what an experience. I mean, the bird's call is magical. I was calling above the kids. I mean, there's Phineas having a kip again. He hates to sleep. But to have it flying around, the kids, they were so excited about it because they heard the bird calling so often. So it was just certainly a very, very satisfying twitch.
And Rick really made it special.
Yeah, Rick Nuttall made it a proper
And he's become a very special friend with that experience.
Absolutely. So there have been a few tough dips, and that's we knew it was coming, but some of them are definitely hurt harder than others. The first one, a dip, in not really the sense that you're thinking. So Penawing Nightjar, it was a dip for us because we just didn't get the opportunity to go. We were out in Kruger now as well, and again at the start of the year, and we inquired about having the kids on board. And it's on the night drive, and there was concern about them being so young, etc. And again, we wanted to make this big year, the numbers reflect us doing it with the kids. And we're saying, if they're sick or they're tired, it's too much for them, then we can't go. But for us,
they would have been with us.
They would have been with us. So for one of us to go and get the nightjar would have been, it's not kind of the vibe that we were going for. So that was a tough one to miss because, it's such a charismatic
And at the
bird.
Beginning of the year, that was the bird
I was most excited to see. But anyway, so we had to leave that one. The sooty gull on the top right, that bird, we left the Cape in search of it at Kaiamouth, and it was still there. Now we spent a couple of days before it at a mate's house there near Kenton-on-Sea, Bushman's River, and then went through to Kaiamouth and tried to find it, couldn't, but we managed to get the broad-billed sandpiper thanks to Etienne. He had his scope set up. I managed to bump into him, but couldn't find the sooty gull at Kaiamouth. Went through to Treneries with a friend there where we were staying, and the day after it was seen where we were at Kenton on Sea.
Yeah, that was
So
a tough one.
that was tough to know that this bird was going the wrong direction to us, and
we didn't have the funds all
Yeah,
the time
that's
to
a
go
little
back, so it was hard.
And then the last one, probably the one that hurt the most was White Cheek Tern, which was found 5 minutes from where we stay. We were doing some birding with the blue swallow in Richmond, and then promptly left to go to Joburg, and our phones had died. And we didn't charge them. We've never made the mistake again. And got to halfway to Joburg and got signal, and then saw that the White Cheek Tern was 5 minutes from where we stayed. So again, we couldn't just turn around. So that was very tough dips. So although we had some great twitches, there's been a few dips that have really kind of stung.
So the situation is, over the last 11 months, we have traveled extensively over our 9 provinces across Africa. We have basically done all 9 provinces almost 2 or 3 times, which has been proper. It's been hectic and incredible at the same time. We've done 37,500 Ks and only 2 flat tires, which
we're
pretty impressed by.
We had a good run.
The Jimny has done phenomenally well. And we also got to go to 11 out of the 19 national parks, which has also been a bucket list thing for us. And obviously the places where we've stayed have just been incredible. So the countless memories that we've made this year, I mean, I just don't think there's any way that we could actually portray in like today to explain the memories that we have. And we often say how birds allow us to keep our memories, because like Craig will say, oh, do you remember the redneck falcon? And a whole memory of seeing that bird in the place, in the Kalahari, the way we saw it, the reactions of the kids, everything just comes flooding back. And a lot of our memories have been that way. And I think that's how the kids have also retained a lot of the memories of this trip. So, and so currently we're on 689 birds.
We're stoked, hey? I mean,
we're pretty stoked.
We are so pumped. We've been at a really great run. We've managed to photograph most, if not all, of those birds, which again is just such a massive thing which we're trying to achieve as well. Just another milestone. So we know conservatively, well, we know really well that we've done ourselves proud. You know, we didn't think we'd ever get this far. 100%
best by 11 months.
Absolutely. So we've been blown away, and that's real testament to everyone who's reached out to us. I mean, we're going to go through a bit more now, but we've had the support system we've had has been absolutely phenomenal. Just for interest, that figure you're seeing there is just those green dots illustrate all the new ticks for this year. So you can just see that where they are clustered around. It's just been a phenomenal experience. We're just chatting about it earlier that we're like the most unconnected birders in the world when we started this year. So I mean, our big birding team was myself, Steen, and the kids, Ren and Finn. And when we started in January, little did we know that the team was about to get massive. So, I mean, we've had the opportunity of birding with some incredible people.
Yeah, I wish that we could have a photo of every single person. We do. We just couldn't fit it on the slide. Everyone listed there on the right-hand side, and I really hope we haven't missed anyone out. We've literally been helped by so many people in so many different ways. And the memories that have come with those experiences, our friends and family have really extended to basically right across South Africa. And we're so grateful for the input that every single one of these people have put into our big year, in terms of the experience, and then also in terms of helping us connect with targets that we really had no idea how to connect with, and many of them.
It's been amazing.
Okay, so the support that we've received this year has been in a few different ways. So the left-hand side, you can see somebody's written on our windscreen. And we've had a few of these kind of crazy out-of-body experiences where you're like, what? But people have really encouraged us in so many different ways. We must receive encouraging messages and affirmations on a daily basis from people who are following our journey, and it's really kept us going.
Absolutely.
People have believed in us, they've encouraged us, they validated us, and we are so grateful for every single person who's reached out to us. Then the bird guides and the birders across Africa who have invited us to come join them birding, who've shown us their local spots. We are so grateful just for the friendships, for the love, and then also for actually the additions into our list and the help. It's just been so amazing. And then on the right-hand side, that's just, I love this photo. So this is Anne and Dave, and we actually camped next to them in the Kalahari. And we just connected with them so well. And they said, whenever you're in Cape Town, just give us a ring. And that's what we did.
So we did.
And we ended up staying with them for a week. And they've really become our kids' Cape Town grandparents. And so the support has really been in so many different ways. And we just want to really say thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful. I mean, people have invited us to their house. I mean, we come with 2 kids, so which is a thing.
Or for a hot meal.
Yeah, it's been small things. You know, I remember even you camping, other campers have left like a token on the car to do washing. You know, which is when we were budgeting at that stage, you know, to have washing done was like an absolute treat. I mean, we re-wearing things. So it's just been an incredible experience.
And people inviting us to come stay at their lodge or their B&B or their Airbnb.
Yeah, it's been so appreciated.
Everyone who's reached out.
Yeah, and somehow we didn't plan it this way, but somehow we started getting milestones with mates, and then we kind of made it a priority. You know, when we got a big milestone, it's trying to do it with the mates. So the first one, top left, was Cape Siskin there with Mike Buckham down in Cape Town, which was wonderful. He reached out to us quite early, and he's birded a lot with his kids, so he gave us a lot of tips on lots of stories on their adventures as well, which was wonderful. Our 500th bird, top right there, honest chat with Daniel Engelbrecht. Oh, Dan. He's been a massive help for us and a wonderful family friend.
He's part of the Widdows.
Yeah, he's been absorbed, and his family as well have been countless hot meals and words of encouragement. So we're so appreciative of that. Our 600th bird was Fynbos buttonquail with Joe Barmer and Wes Gush. Yeah, again 2 epic birders who Joe invited us into his home again for a week with the kids, and we're constantly getting messages from them, and so it's just wonderful. And then 650th was Pels Fishing Owl, one who've been Ren's probably highlight bird of the year. Yeah. We got there with Wade Lee and Zululand, which again was just wonderful. And again, I remember Wade, when we fetched it in the morning, he had like organized like a chameleon book for Finn and a book for Ren.
His old books for our kids.
Yeah, so like stuff like that. It's crazy. Like not only are we getting these people's time and energy, but then they're going out of their way to make things special for the kids.
And connecting.
Yeah. And I mean, that was, it's been wonderful to share milestones with these people, and it's incredible.
So the last chapter, we're now in our last month, and it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, so the situation as it stands is we have to somehow come up with 11 birds in the next 23 days.
Yeah.
This weekend was pretty cool in the fact that Mr. Franklin's gull arrived again 5 minutes where we live. So that was a massive help.
Durban's been really helpful lately.
Kind. But we are going to, from Friday, we'll be leaving for 21 days and just staying on the road for that period to try and connect with these 11 birds. So you can follow us on our Instagram and Facebook pages. We put the link there, our Birding Big Year. And the plan is to, on Friday, head towards Gauteng to try and connect with our bogey Ayers Hawk Eagle. And then from there, it's just really trading the birds. So we've got a few relatively easy birds, if I can say that. Yeah. Like Cape Clapperlark, we still haven't found a mallard that we're pleased with. So I mean, he's still off the list. So there's a few birds there which we can get, but 11 is going to be a thing.
Yeah, so 700 is just a number. I mean, listen, we are so excited that we're this close to 700. There were often times that we weren't too sure whether we get 700 or if we don't get 700. I mean, these 11 birds now are going to be the hardest. If we haven't connected with it yet, after the amount of traveling we've done, the amount of birding, it's going to be hard. But yeah, it is just a number. And really for us, if we said the magic number, or to say that we've won in this year for ourselves, or we've achieved, as if we are still birding as a family on the 31st of December. If our kids are still enjoying being in nature, enjoying birding, if we also like each other, which we do, no, we're still traveling and still enjoying by the 31st of December, then we've really won. Not to mention all the incredible memories that have come along with going for the 700.
Yeah. I think that photo on the right for me is the best. That's for a large portion of you, just waking up with the kids in front of you, Christine making a nice cup of coffee there. I mean, that's the dream. It's been amazing. And just to end off, we really are really encouraging everyone, if you can help us with our gift. We really want to kind of contribute to this BirdLife South Africa's community bird guide training project. It's something which is so close to heart, and certainly something that we'll be pursuing with next year. And so we just encourage all of you, that's the QR code there, if you want to give that a scan. And any funds that you have, I mean, if it's 10 Rand, it doesn't really matter. We just want to try and make a difference if we can, and all money will directly go to BirdLife South Africa, to that program on the 1st of January. So it all goes to such a wonderful cause, and to such an amazing kind of project, which is getting out.
It's really
So,
going to change.
yeah,
lives.
absolutely. So we just want to thank everyone for listening to us this evening. I hope it's been good. And yeah, we're really looking forward to taking some of your questions.
I don't know if anyone else is hearing Melissa, but I'm not hearing you, Melissa.
Apologies, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thanks, Christina. Just having a little monologue with myself there. Guys, thank you so much. That was unbelievable. Thank you so much for letting us into your lives for the last 11 months and sharing your journey so beautifully. My goodness, the images that you've captured are gobsmacking. And I'll get to a question about the equipment you're using in a moment there, Craig, but just phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for coming onto the show. I'm certainly feeling inspired, and I just love your sentiment about it'll be fine. Everyone always worries so much, and how am I going to do this? And we know economic times are tough. And I love your can-do attitude. And I think the point you made around the South African birding family really struck a chord with me, because that is exactly what we are. And it's so awesome to see the generosity of the South African birders getting out there, and you guys are living proof of that. So thank you for showcasing what an awesome birding community we have here in South Africa, and for choosing BirdLife South Africa's community guides as your cause. I certainly am inspired and in awe of those gentlemen and ladies out there making a living out of our amazing birds, and sharing their passion for the birds and what they do. So thank you for highlighting them and giving them a platform, and supporting them with your incredible journey. Christina, I don't know if you want to add anything else before we dive into questions.
No, just to echo what Melissa said, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm very jealous and inspired as well by your journey. So it's amazing. Thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely, yeah. Sorry, Greg, go for it.
No, we were just saying it's wonderful to share it. I mean, we were saying we were panicking a bit when you got asked to do it. You wonder how you can condense it all. Because there's so much happened. I mean, every day something happened, which was just magic. So yeah, we hope we showcased a bit.
Absolutely. And as I said so beautifully, I think my first question is, 31st of December is coming. What happens on the 1st of January? What's next for you guys? What are your plans?
We've actually spoken about that quite a lot. Definitely from the 1st to the 5th, we are going to chill and relax. Probably with a glass of wine and a nice place, so wherever we end up on the 31st, and just recover, because we are pretty exhausted. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite a lot of processing and looking back at this year.
Yeah, we're going to also try and be responsible adults now. We've got to get our kids back into school and do the right thing.
We need to find our own place. We need to move out of our parents' home.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to be looking at changing our handle on social media. We're not going to say what it's going to be called yet, but it's going to really showcase what a birding family. And what we can get up to. So the birding's not going to end. No. We still got lots of birds to take and explore, places to explore.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's been great following you on social media. So I look forward to seeing what you have in store. So there's a question come through from John Yeld, and it was something that occurred to me as well, was whether both of you have to see the bird for it to count towards your list.
Yeah, so we obviously that is key for us, that we both have to see it, which is why the white-throat sent shivers down my spine when Christine's like, it's here, and then I arrived to a tiny bush and it's not there, then it's panic sets deep within. So yeah, with the exception of pelagics, obviously, because Christine, number one, we need someone with the kids, and number two, Christine gets motion sickness if we go down a hill. So a pelagic just would have been an awful experience altogether. So yeah, besides that, it's been we've tried to, both of us, to see it, and also to get the kids involved in the experience. I mean, on a good example is on Sunday we went for Franklin's Gull here, which is at Durban, but the kids weren't feeling great. So Christine and I went down, and then this afternoon I took Finn, who was feeling better, and him and I went down. So sometimes we have to do things a bit slower, but that's the general rule.
Yeah, there've been very few instances where I've had to remain with the kids.
Yeah.
But otherwise we have to both see it.
Fantastic. And all those beautiful images that you were able to capture there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the equipment that you've been using to do that?
Yeah, no problem. So I got just a Canon EOS R, just the entry-level mirrorless lens. And then I used the Sigma 150 to 600 for the birds, and then just a little Canon nifty 50mm lens for the family shots, which I promptly rode over in Thurlow. And I was pretty devastated, but it still works. I don't know how it works, but it does.
Yeah.
So it's survived another 4 months after being squashed with us. James is not the heaviest car, but still.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we've gotten around our content.
Fantastic. That's quite the ad for Canon.
Yeah.
We actually even used my Canon lens cap when the trailer, it was the wheel hub came off. So I had to tie something to stop dust getting in. So I taped the Canon EOS R lens cap
And
on
it did a very good job.
Did a great job.
Anyone
So,
needs it in the future.
yeah,
That's
so-
a tip.
top tip. Use
Life hacks from the Widdows.
do a little bit modifications.
You mentioned it briefly, but someone's also asked about your missing birds, and do you have a list? Do you have any big bogey birds that you have missed out on consistently?
That we've still got tree pipit as well. We're going to be trying for that. So not too many bogey birds.
We're going to
that
try
are
for
still
Sclater's
outstanding.
Lark, hopefully by the end of the year.
Maybe Sclaters will treat us. So yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed, guys. Sure. Well, certainly lots of good targets. And I'm sure after tonight, many of the birding community will pin those birds down and give you a ring and try and get you out there.
Obviously, our list of what we've got is all on Birdlasser. So I mean, it's freely available for anyone to kind of pop in and check.
Yeah, fantastic. I was going to ask what you were using to sort of keep track of what you'd seen and what you hadn't seen. Is there anything in addition to sort of logging on Birdlasser that you guys have used to keep track?
I've got a spreadsheet and a highlighter in my bird book. So I've got 3 copies of this thing. Because so help me.
Fantastic.
But great for to generate
brilliant.
that map at the end to kind of export all those GPS points. It's been like really a nice way. That's one thing we try to do at the end of the year. If we can make like a nice big map for the house. You know?
And it's nice because we can link the same account to both of our phones. So we've both got the Birdlasser, our list.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, Birdlasser has been such a game changer for so many of us. It certainly is incredible. I was actually going through my life list today and looking at all my sort of pre-Birdlasser ticks and thinking, sure, I'm going to have to add these.
Yeah,
always good. So you guys have been amazingly active on social media. And I mean, I've loved scrolling through your posts and sort of connecting with you on the odd things here and there. What role has social media played and how have you guys leveraged that to make your big year a success?
So we kind of started at the beginning of the year saying that we wanted to use social media to document our journey and to connect with the birding community, but yeah, definitely from a documentation side of things. And then what we realized is as more people started following us, we actually connected with more and more people, and that's actually how we've had all the support is mainly through our social media. So we've had bird guides reach out. We've had people from different lodges. I mean, we were camping in the Kruger for that long time, and our tent had just flooded, and we had no signal. And suddenly we got signal, and we got a message from James Tyrrell from Londolozi, and he said, "If you're around, come for the night. We'd love to have you. Let's see what we can add." And we were like, this is really happening. And so that from that perspective, it's really opened up our world to a totally new world.
Even just like South Africa, I mean, again, that last night in Kruger, it poured with rain, and we got invited to go and stay. Someone just messaged us, said, "Do you want to come stay?"
To Liz's house.
Yeah, Liz messaged us, said, "Do you want to?" We're staying just outside. We have a house outside Bergendal, do you want to come through? So we're like, we're not staying in a tent, we don't need to be on a night. So
We
like,
went and
we
stayed.
got there and like the lovely garden for the kids to play in and a warm meal and adults to talk to, which is just at that
Amazing.
stage wonderful.
And yeah, a lot of people also reached out to give us general information on birds where they'd seen it. And also, yeah, and then also to say, oh, a bird is here now, are you close? You know,
Yeah,
so that's
wonderful.
been really great. I also think we have a lot of some followers who are not birders who've really enjoyed learning about birds. So it's been really cool from that aspect too.
Absolutely, yeah, that is so phenomenal. And in terms of lifers, how many lifers have you guys been able to tick off this year? Because I'm sure you must have boosted over the course of the year.
Yeah, massive. So I think Christine's always enjoyed birding and a really great birder, but never listed.
I've never listed. Yeah.
This year, like, was Christine. I, as an ecologist, obviously I've traveled a lot of South Africa, so I've managed to get some really decent lifers, but Christine has nailed. I mean, never going to like the Northern Cape or Western Cape. So I mean, she was clocking them out of
LBJs.
Oh, like phenomenal. And I think it's been such a great learning opportunity as well for someone who I think I started this year a little bit shy. And now I'm ending the year feeling like I've just learned a huge amount just from repetitive birding, I guess. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Again,
Absolutely.
also just with the kids as well, what we found, which was fascinating, is obviously with us birding for the first 7 months, pretty much continually, the kids absorbed so much information because that was their school. You know, I mean, particularly with Ren, she was just going through her bird books every day. What do we still need?
They would fight over the bird book. Who got
exactly.
the Roberts bird book? Who got Fancy's bird book?
Yeah.
And so it was a really great learning opportunity for them.
I remember one day Finn at the back, I mean, he was 2 years and 4 months, something. And he like chimed in, he's like, is this a Cape parrot? And I look back and like, he's on the Cape parrot. I'm like, my boy, like you're spot on.
He's like, that one is Cape parrot, this one is Cape parrot.
So, I mean, just to see how they immerse themselves in that experience and really just absorb was fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing. And it's so exciting to see young birders coming through the ranks, particularly young female birders. That's always been a massive passion of mine. So all power to Ren, and we look forward to watching her on her birding journey as she grows up. And well done to both of you for setting that seed and inspiring her to get into it. And yeah, really, really exciting stuff. I've always said birding is like a language. If you speak it long enough and do it long enough, you can get really, really good at it. And I'm sure you guys feel exactly the same way.
100%, yeah.
Awesome. Christina, I see you back with us. Have you got any other questions lined up?
Yeah, surprisingly, my internet dropped and not yours sitting out in the middle of nowhere.
Go the boondocks.
Yeah, so I hope I didn't miss too much. But something that I think did you ask the question about whether you're going to do a book of your big year? I know it's been asked on social media, and I think a lot of people would be super interested. I'd be keen to read it. Are you going to do a book about your adventures?
Yeah, so it's something that we've been thinking about over the course of the year. A lot of people have asked and shown interest. A lot of people have shown interest in different things. So some people would love like a photo book almost. Some people want like more of the storybook. And yeah, well, I think we definitely are going to go down that route. We're going to need some time. And so definitely from next year, we can put more effort and energy into it. But we were surprised at how easy it is to recall our experiences, just as I said, from the birds. Like if we go through from our first bird onwards, we can recall every single sighting, and also through our social media, we've been able to recall a lot of memories. So I think that's going to be a really very exciting project, because we might find ourselves quite lost next year, to be honest. So a good new project.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. And I see we're getting lots of yeses to a book. So you'll have at least 400 purchases out of the audience tonight. No, I think that would be amazing. Now we've got a very important question from Jacques Smit. He wants to know, how many kilograms of snacks do you need to cover a full year with kids?
Do you know what is it's so surprising me? It never gets old. Is the amount of food that they consume as soon as you get into a car. So like, they'll be fine. They're playing, we're at our accommodation or at the campsite, they're playing, the ignition starts and immediately I'm hungry, but it's hungry to a point that they're starving. You know, death is obviously imminent here.
But especially after the 4 months, or like basically the 7 months of road tripping, there was a time when every time we heard the word hungry or thirsty, we would like get tense, you know, grow gray hair, because it was like, please don't ask for food anymore. So we eventually were just so well prepared. I mean, we're very, very well organized. We have a bush baby in the front, like a little, you know, I don't know if you know, bush baby, like carry thing. And we've just got snacks. Rena she's allergic to dairy, which has made it quite challenging. So you can't do, you know, like the cheese or the yogurts, and so a lot of towns, we couldn't find things that were suitable, because anything that has a little bit of dairy, like cakes or biscuits or anything, she can't have. So yeah, we definitely found that quite a challenge. And yes, the word hungry has become quite a trigger for us.
Well, that's amazing, and well done. I know getting hangry is not something that's good for any birder.
That's for sure.
I see we've got a question from Vanna here. He wants to know where they can find a list of your missing birds that you're still looking for the rest of the year. Maybe that's something we could post on Instagram, or if you've got it somewhere.
That's what we have got a list which we worked through, which will actually pop onto our socials this week. We one kind of actually forgot to say it, a little bogey bird for us was lesser crested tern. You know, as hard as we tried, we couldn't pick it up, and thankfully Sunday the streak ended when we got a couple here in the Durban Harbour. So we will be putting it up so that people can kind of see what we still outstanding birds.
We can put it up this week.
Yeah, we definitely will do that.
That'll be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Christine is still with us.
Yeah, and then there's sorry, there's a question from Annalie asking about any birding books for kids, and she's saying especially kids who might never go on a birding trip. So what resources for the kids have you found useful this year?
So definitely Fancy Peacock's kids bird book.
Yeah.
What is it called? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's a Fancy Peacock's bird book for kids, and that's been, I mean, we've actually lost the binding. We need to rebound it because it's just been used over and over and over again. And it's really simple. There are drawings. Fancy's kept it really simple to what the kids need to know, and all the other information is not there, which is really nice for, and it's a little bit less intimidating for kids to go through. And then we've, so that's been like their bird book. And then we've had a lot of really cool bird coloring in books that we found along the way. Like in the Kruger gift shop, they have awesome bird coloring in books where it's the Kruger birds, they've got their names, there's a picture of it, and they have to find the same color and color it in accordingly. And it's been a really nice and gentle way for the kids to enjoy learning about birds. So yeah, those are
yeah. I mean, they page through all other books. I mean, our Roberts.
The Roberts, they love.
They just go through it. And they
also love the bird app.
Yeah.
So I've got Bird Pro, and Rena just loves to scroll through each bird, and then she'll like look at the chick, and then she laughs about how cute it is, and then she goes to the next one. What is this? And it's really nice because sometimes photos also are really cool for kids
more
to
engaging,
see. Yeah.
Fantastic. And sort of, we're going to start wrapping up the questions shortly, because I think we've definitely had you guys going for a while, but I could certainly talk to you all night. But last one from me, and then I'll give Christina another go. What would you say has been your biggest lesson that you're going to take away from this year?
Biggest lesson is it'll be fine. Like that's 100%, you know. Like we're saying, there is no way that we should be here now and looking back at what we've done. Like it's absolutely impossible to think that we've done it, but we just like we wanted it, so we did it. And the same thing we really try to teach that to our kids as well. You're like, just if you really want to do it, if you want to pursue your path of happiness, it'll be fine, you know, just make it happen. And you'll have some speed bumps, and you will work over those speed bumps. We've had a few this year, and there'll be different big speed bumps next year, trying to kind of get ourselves back into life. But I mean, it's been It's been amazing.
My biggest lesson is to reduce distractions. So it's even since we've been back at work for the last couple of months, the distractions creep in very quickly. And so, yeah, going forward, for me, I think, and as a family, we really have tried to reduce the distractions and just to be able to connect and get out into nature as much as possible.
Well, I don't know if we can top those two lessons for if we should ask any other questions. It's a really great note to end on. And I think I'm going to adopt those as my new life mottos or my resolutions for next year. It'll be fine. I think that's a great motto to live by. Yeah, so thanks very much for sharing that. And I have thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. It's been amazing, and you'll see all the messages in the chat. We'll send those through to you tomorrow. Everyone else has also enjoyed it and just so appreciated the stories you've shared and the passion you have, and just how you've been able to bring your kids along and instill that passion into them. And it's really been a family affair. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us, and thank you to everyone who's joined us.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much. Before I close off tonight, any last sentiments or words you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, well, I'd just like to encourage everyone to, let's see if we can make 700, and if not, let's see where next year takes us.
Absolutely.
And invite you along.
Yeah, if anyone else there with kids, then bring them to the next Twitches, because we
message us and we'll meet with you, and we can
play date
in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Good play date venue. Yeah.
Fantastic. Craig, Christine, thank you. It has been an absolutely awesome webinar to finish off 2021. Thank you guys so much for the effort that you put into that talk. Beautiful pictures, amazing stories, goosebump stuff, and well done to the two of you, young family, showing that nothing is impossible. And I, like Christina, am going to take it forward that it will be fine. And we will keep that motto going on the show when the techno gremlins and other things come. But thank you both so much. Christina, thank you so much. It's been an awesome year. What a journey. Can't believe we're at the end of 2021. And to all of you still with us as we go through the questions here, thank you so much for tuning in every Tuesday, 7 o'clock. It has been an absolute blast learning and growing with all of you, and we look forward to bringing you even more exciting content in 2022. So from all of us at BirdLife South Africa and the Conservation Conversations family, thank you guys so much for an amazing 2021. And here's to cracking the 100th episode in 2022 with all of you. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Have a wonderful festive season. And we will see you on the 8th of February, 2022 for our next Bird of the Year talk. It is the Cape Gannet if you missed that. And we're looking forward to an amazing, amazing time. So take care, everyone, and we'll speak to you soon. Good night.